Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. Hope everyone's doing super well. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you all. Hey, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Welcome to the 5-day NLP and Coaching Challenge. I'm your host, Calvin Coyles. We're in for an incredible ride over the next couple of days. We've got everyone joining us from around the world now. Thank you so much for putting up some posts up into the chat box, letting me know you can hear me and see me. We're going to jump into it. Let's get started. Post up and let me know where you're dialing in from around the world. I know we've got people in Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, USA, UK, Ireland. Let me know where you're calling in from. Apologies, guys. We've just got to get everybody in. The setting to enable the reading room, unfortunately, is not available. So I've got to get everybody in now with us live. Just while we're getting started, we've got over 100 now on the call. Welcome to everybody. I appreciate everyone joining us as well for session 1. There is another session that's happening later on this evening, early hours of my morning for people in the UK. So I imagine most of our crew here are going to be Australian-based or certainly in Southeast Asia. So let's jump in. Post up and let me know where you're calling from. We've got people London, we've got Port Macquarie, Scotland. Hey, Amy. New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, New South Wales, Melbourne, Singapore, Ireland. Where else we got? Brisbane, Townsville, UK, Adelaide. Won't hold that against you. Where else we got? Sunny Coast as well. UK, South Africa. Woohoo! Bonita. Essex in the UK, Mornington Peninsula, UK. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I think most people have joined us by now. There's still a couple of people jumping into the group as well. I want to say first and foremost to everybody, thank you so much for your time. It is not lost on me that the energy and the activity I'm asking for most of you. Let me just turn off this music, by the way. Just getting my jam going, and then we're going to stop it. Okay. 5 days is not lost on me. I want to really appreciate everybody for joining us for the masterclass over the next couple of days. I'm going to do my best over these next couple of days to not only keep it short and sweet and to the point, but also to make sure that you get maximum enjoyment and value from our time together. I think something I should let you know up front, we're not everybody's cup of tea here at Wild Success. We're a very different training organization than maybe many of you are used to. Hopefully you like us, but we are an acquired taste. What I mean by that is that we don't take ourselves very seriously, but we do take this work very seriously. And I think if you're going to spend time and energy learning anything in life, a key component to whether or not you take it on board, you actually use it, and you're engaged enough to get value from it is whether or not you enjoy the process. So we want to try and make the next 5 days not only a heap of fun, but also very practical, very engaging for you, and as hands-on as possible. If it's just a one-way conversation, it's not going to be that engaging. But if it is a two-way dialogue, I think you'll enjoy more. So to that point, for everybody, I'm going to try and keep everybody muted for the majority of the training. However, there are going to be times during today and over the next 5 days where we actually jump you into breakout groups, where you have the opportunity to get to know other people from around the world. To that point, having your video on and the ability to have conversation would probably be valuable. So there's a good chunk of you that have got your videos on, but there is obviously some of you as well that have got your videos off. I do appreciate that obviously some of you might be driving, doing school drop-off or pick-up, or in the middle of making dinner. I get that. So do the best that you can with what you've got. But obviously I can tell you now that if you show up, you've got your video on, you're participating and engaging, you're taking notes, you have the ability to interact and engage with me, it goes without question to say that you're going to get a lot more from the next 5 days than if you're passive. So if you're going to be passive, there's a difference between I'm passively engaged and I'm passively disengaged. If you're passively disengaged, I imagine you'll join us for a bit of today's training. You probably won't see you for the next 4 days. If you're passively engaged and you got your video off for whatever reason, I'm cool with that, but I'd rather you be here and be fully present here as well. So if it's not, our language here is that if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. If you're not enjoying it, then you don't need to stay. Like, no one's holding you ransom here. And to that point, if anyone doesn't enjoy the next 5 days, please email me, calvin@wildsuccess.global, and I will give you a full refund. Okay. This is obviously a free program. That's a joke. Some of you got that joke. Some of you didn't get that joke. That's okay. If you do laugh at my jokes, it makes me feel better. And certainly it costs me less money in therapy. With all that aside, let's jump into this. I'm going to give you a bit of an overview. I've got a bit of a slide presentation to share a bit today. And then what I want to do at the end of each of these sessions is open up for a bit of Q&A. I really thrive on that interactivity. So let me jump into it. I'm going to cover off on our agenda today. I'm going to get you into a breakout group in just a little bit as well, just to get to know each other and set some goals. And then we're going to go through the rest of the agenda and the content today as well. Of course, if you have any questions at any point, please let us know by posting up into the chat box. And then in addition to that, this is live and recorded. It's 6:07 p.m. Perth, Western Australia time for me. So if for some reason the internet breaks down, something happens, just jump back into the call and we'll do our best to have some fun and to kick some goals. Everyone ready to rock and roll? Everyone ready to kick some goals? Yep, excellent. Okay, let's go into it. So give me one moment here. I'm just going to share my screen for you and I will bring up our presentation for today. And we've got some people that are still joining us. And so I'll try to add them in as we go. Here we go. Well, man, so I'm struggling to do two things at once. Please forgive me. There we go. Okay, excellent. And let me share this. Okay. Okay, so welcome to the 5-day NLP and coaching program. Over the next 5 days, we're going to show you how to transform lives using NLP and coaching. We're going to show you how to live life on your terms and at the same time, make a fortune along the way. I don't believe there's any nobility in poverty, to put it that way. I think that you can truly make a difference in the world whilst also making a fortune along the way. And I actually believe that in order for you to truly make your mark on the world, it requires tremendous resources as well as resourcefulness to be able to get there. Our hope and prayer is that we can give you those skills and tools of transformation and the ability to monetize that so you can make your life's work, so to speak. Our agenda over the next 5 days is as follows. Today, day one, we're going to look at the 3 core pillars of all successful coaches. I didn't just make that up. That's the collective experience of working with 200,000 clients and customers and coaches around the world in more than 85 countries. So we're going to give you that insight today and show you these are the 3 things you need to have to be successful. Some of you will already have them. Some of you will have some of them, but not all of them. Some of you will have none of them. I'd rather you know where you are and what the next step is for you to be able to get started than to sort of run headfirst in the wrong direction. So that's today. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at our signature methodology called the WILD method. It's our proven strategy for being able to help you transform anyone's life at any time. Effectively, we want you to be able to coach anyone at any time about anything. That's the WILD methodology. And normally clients fall into a couple of key categories that are holding themselves back. We're going to show you a methodology that you can use straight away and automatically start getting some results. On day 3 is going to be quite hands-on and quite practical in that we're going to be taking you through an emotional mastery session where we're going to be teaching you a technique from NLP and coaching called anchoring. And this is actually a peak performance protocol that I learned from Gilbert Anaku, the peak performance coach of the All Blacks, the New Zealand All Blacks, the most successful sporting team of any sport in any code around the world. So we're going to be taking you through that on Wednesday. So we'll be teaching you how to do that, but we'll also be showing you as well how to do that for your clients and customers as well, so you can make an impact straight away for them. On day 4, we're going to take you through an NLP masterclass, if I get the words out, which is 42 different ways to change somebody's life. For those of you who are familiar, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It was a science that was developed in the late 60s, early 70s by a couple of gentlemen based out of the United States. And what they discovered was that there are certain things that you can do to rapidly transform somebody's life. I mean, I want you to consider that we all have an iPhone or a Samsung tablet or phone. That is the hardware, effectively. The operating system is what runs the background, and every couple of days, they update the operating system with a new update, because there is obviously apps that don't work and glitches that happen. I want you to imagine that NLP is effectively your ability to upgrade your own operating software in your own mind. And we're going to show you 42 different ways to do that on Thursday. And then on Friday, we're going to bring it all together into what's called a coaching roadmap session, where we're going to show you the business of coaching and show you how to start a business and go from $0 to $10,000 a month. Now, some of you may not be ready yet to run a business. That's okay. Some of you might not even want to run a business. That's also okay. But certainly, now more than ever, I'm sure we can all appreciate that it's better to know how to stand on your own 2 feet economically and not need to than to need to and not know how to. And think about how many people have struggled over the last 2 years, for example, because they were laid off or made redundant or something happened in their lives economically. If they had maybe a bit of a side hustle, or maybe their side hustle was their main hustle and they were successful in coaching, imagine what impact we could have made in the world and also what impact you could have made for your family. So that's the next 5 days. Today might be a little bit longer than the rest because there's a little bit of admin to do up front, just so everyone's across it all. But our hope is that the sessions go for about 45 minutes, allocate maybe up to an hour, depending on how overzealous I feel and how many tangents I go on as we go. So with that in mind, let's jump into today, which is the 3 core pillars of all successful coaches. Now, what we want to do up front is I want to do a bit of activity, get everyone to know each other as well. You're going to be together. There's obviously 140 of you, which just fucking blows my mind. It's amazing. It's great to have so many of you with us on the call. So what I want to do is let's just jump into a breakout group. Now, if you're not new, or if you are new to Zoom, what's going to happen in about 30 seconds is there'll be a little pop-up that comes up on your screen that says the host is inviting you to a meeting room 1 or meeting room 50 or whatever it is. I'm going to put you in groups of probably about 10 and just click accept on that. And then what that'll do is that'll put you into a small meeting group with 10 other random strangers that are on this call as well. And I want you to go through a couple of things. Introduce yourselves. Say, hey, everybody, turn on your cameras and turn on your audio, introduce each other, let each other know where you're dialing in from around the world. And then also ask each other, what are some of the goals that you've got for the program? There's no need for anyone to be a facilitator necessarily, or we're not going to appoint anybody as part of that process, but just jump in, have a bit of a chat and talk about some of your goals. What you'll find is that most nearly all of you are here for very, very similar reasons. And you may be even from very similar places, emotionally and obviously logistically. So with that in mind, let me jump out of this for a second. I'm going to jump back into that in just a little bit, but let me put you into some breakout rooms. And if you don't want to join the breakout room, that's totally fine as well. Just say don't join. But if you are going to join, you'll have to click join within the first couple seconds. And I will do a little announcement for everybody as well. I'll put you into 13 different groups. There we go. Sign. Yep, cool. So it'll be like 10 to 11 of you in each group, depending on how many people join. But I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to jump in and to introduce yourselves and get to know each other as well. And then we're going to come back straight into the presentation and we'll do a bit of Q&A as well as jumping into the rest of the training as well. Enjoy the process, guys. We'll see you guys in 5 minutes. Go. And there should be an announcement coming up for you right now, just giving you a bit of a holler and letting you know. So just click join the group and you'll be able to jump in straight away. If you're not joining the group, by the way, then take a 5-minute break and we'll come straight back. Okay, we've got about 5 seconds left before everyone joins us as well. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to everybody. Okay. Everyone should be back now. Welcome back. Okay, so post up and let me know what are some of the goals that you've got for the program. What are some of the goals you've got for the program? What are some of the conversations that you had with your group as well? And I'd love to take you guys through some of those things as well. So we've got Sharon says to learn more about NLP. Mainly to know more about NLP. There's another one as well. Refresh the basics, increase my knowledge of NLP. I want to learn, this is from Amy. I want to learn, I want to improve as the personal trainer and be able to emotionally coach my clients better rather than leading, and that would be leading to better client retention. Excellent. We're going to talk about that quite a bit, particularly obviously for you, Amy, as well. There's an entire session on Wednesday about emotional mastery. So sensational. That's really good. Tasneem, improve myself. John, to improve self-talk and take on board challenge and projects. Charlie, I want to learn how to put together a life coaching business and go with my Reiki practice. Sensational. I love that. For Alicia, take some tools back to my coaching business. Excellent. This is all really good. Wow, there's a heap of comments coming through here. Wonderful. Add tools for further practice to explore new areas. For those of you that really want to get your hands on the tools, what we're going to be giving you is a practical experience of one of those tools on Wednesday. So you're going to love that. But Thursday is the big session for that, where we're going to be taking you through those principles and showing you what tools to use in what category for clients for transformation. Obviously, for everyone that wants to run a business, that's Friday session. You're going to get a heat from Friday session. And for those of you who are looking for that foundational knowledge of coaching and how to transform people's lives, that's tomorrow's session. So if you think about it, tomorrow's all about coaching and what's the foundations of great coaching. Wednesday is an experience of emotional mastery for yourself to help create that shift for clients instantly. Thursday is all of the NLP tools in a bit of a masterclass. And then Friday is your business coaching session. So there's going to hopefully be different takeaways that you get from each of the days that we have together that are hopefully going to snowball for you and make this program rather exceptional, which we're very excited about. Okay. So let me circle back. Now, one thing I just wanted to touch on before we move forward is if you scroll up further up in the chat, I'm going to post it up again for everybody just so you guys have got an awareness of it. There are two things that we need everyone to do for today's masterclass. If you haven't done it, not a big deal, but we want you to do it today just so we get the most value for you. Number one is if you check the chat, I've just put up a link to the Facebook group. Hands up if you're in the Facebook group already. Cool. There's 1,300 of you in the Facebook group, but there is still a chunk of you, no, not too many, but there's still a chunk of you that are not yet in the group. You want to make sure you go to that Facebook group and just register as well. So that's number one. Number two is there's also a scorecard. Now, the scorecard is really the entire focus of our session today. If you've done that, that's awesome. If you haven't done that, you're going to want to do that as well. Hands up if you've done the scorecard already. Awesome. Hands up if you have no idea what the fuck the scorecard is. You've never done that. Okay, cool. So the link there, which is coachingsuccess.scoreapp.com, that's a link to the scorecard. I'll tell you a bit about what that means today. It's free to do. It'll take you about 2.5 minutes to complete. You can do it while you're on the computer, on your phone, just to get it done. But that's very important that you do that as well for us so that you can get the most out of today's session and the other things that we're going to be doing throughout the course of the week. So outside of all of that, I just want to touch on those two things before we jump into the rest of the training. Let me jump back in here into our presentation. So before we begin, let me just introduce Wild Success and myself so you know a little bit about us, but I really don't want to spend much time talking about us as a company. It's really about your goals, but I do want you to understand a bit about how we came to be here and effectively what gives me the right to be here in front of many of you as coaches and consultants and as educators talking about the stuff that we do. Effectively, I just want to demonstrate that we're not practicing on you here. So Wild Success was founded in 2013. Today, we've got over 200,000 clients and customers, all coaches and practitioners in NLP around the world in more than 85 countries and growing. We've got the world's #1 selling online NLP coaching program as well. We're recognized across Australia and New Zealand, Southeast Asia, America, the UK, and Ireland and Europe as one of the world's leading professional development coaching companies. Our head office is based in Perth. We have a real office with real people. We've got 16 full-time staff. Some of our team are on this call as well, checking in with you. So if you get a message from Jack, from Benita, from Jackie, from Suze, just to name a few, they're here to support and help you. Inside of our Facebook group, if you get any tags or anything from Bliss or Now, they're also some of our team members as well. We're a multi-million-dollar organization. We've got a very, very strong social presence, and we've got very good quality client testimonials and reviews and connections. We're very proud of the reputation we've got in the marketplace, and we're an award-winning training organization in NLP and coaching. A little bit about me as well. So my name is obviously Calvin Coyles. I'm the founder and CEO of Wild Success. I've been an international speaker and seminar leader for probably the better part of the last decade. Before I got into NLP and coaching, I was in nonprofit work and charity work and aid work. And I set up microfinance programs in Africa. I've set up charity projects across Australia in the deserts of Australia for our Indigenous communities. And I was very fortunate to lead Australia to lead my organization to 3 national championships, recognized as the #1 in Australia for social enterprise. And I took Australia as our international programs to the top 16 of the world championships in social enterprise. At 22, my final year of uni, I had a public company of 120 staff doing charity work. And then I got the opportunity to connect him with one of the world leaders in NLP and hypnosis, a gentleman by the name of Christopher Howard. Now, if you're not familiar with Chris Howard or Christopher Howard, Chris set up a company back in the late 90s, early 2000s called the Academy of Wealth and Achievement. He was originally a Tad James teacher and became very successful, and then ended up creating a business 10 times bigger than Tad's company, and went out to certify more people in NLP and coaching than anybody else at the time in the world combined. And Chris was running $100 million company, but unfortunately, his lifestyle on stage didn't match the lifestyle backstage, and he ended up losing everything. And he was rebuilding his life and his business in the early part of 2012, late 2012, early 2013. To cut a long story short, I'd never met Chris. I didn't know who he was. I'd never seen him present live before, but I knew that he was a true master in NLP and coaching by reputation alone. And I ended up jumping on a webinar with Chris Howard, and he was trying to sell at the time a $9,000 training NLP coaching business pack. And I was like, fuck, I need that. That's exactly what I want. I'm at uni. I'm 22 years old. I want to be a life coach. That's my vision. And anyway, I jump on a sales call, funnily enough, with Chris. And I explained to him, hey, I don't have any money, but I know how to build a team, and I've got this organization that can help, and let's see if we can try and do something together. Long story short, I moved to another country to work with a guy I'd never met before, and I ended up working for him for free for 6 months, 7 days a week for 6 months in a row, living and working for a guy I never met before to learn the skills and tools of transformation. And that was the best experience I could have possibly imagined. Imagine you go and live and work with Tony Robbins for 6 months to learn everything about NLP and coaching and breakthroughs. It was the equivalent experience. I've since gone on to work with Tony quite a bit. They're very, very amazing men. But the experience with Chris was transformational for me. And then I came back and I set up what is now Wild Success. That was in 2013. I'm $40,000 in debt. I've got no business model, really. I don't know anyone back in Perth that's interested in personal development. And I was able to go from zero to $100,000 in 90 days. I made $1 million in my first 10 months in business, and then scaled around the world. And since then, I've become a self-made multimillionaire. We've made tens of millions of dollars in coaching training programs around the world. I have 3 best-selling books. I built $4 million businesses from scratch. We've helped over a dozen people get to $1 million, and more than 50 people get to 6 figures in coaching trainings. I won 30 under 30 when I was 24 years old. 2018 was identified as one of the top 100 most influential business owners. And just earlier this year, in January, I was on the cover of Digital Forbes with Tony Robbins. And last year, I was in Disrupt magazine with Jeff Bezos, and Entrepreneur magazine with Deepak Chopra, talking about transformation, human development, emotional intelligence, and how we made our first $1 million in business. I'm also a husband, a father, a soccer addict, and a travel addict. And we've got, you may hear her, Alila, my little 8-week-old baby, is upstairs with my wife at the moment. I'm doing the call from my house. So that gives you a bit of an idea of who I am. I don't say any of that stuff to impress you. I'm obviously very proud of what we've accomplished and achieved. My mom is very proud of what we've accomplished and achieved. But I shared to you that 2013, so that was, it feels like a very long time ago, but it wasn't really that long. I didn't know NLP and coaching. I'd never done any of this stuff before. I just had a passion for helping people. And ever since then, the world has been better because I learned the skills and tools of transformation. And that's really our mission to share with you guys. So at the start of this decade in 2020, when COVID happened, I'll tell you a bit about our foundation in a second, but we made a decision that we wanted to change the lives of 1 million people between 2020 and 2030. But we knew we couldn't do that all on our own. And so our goal as a company is to provide the skills and tools of transformation to 10,000 coaches. And if they go out then and change 100 lives, collectively we've changed the lives of over 1 million people. We hope that you are part of that 10,000 coaches. And to that point, what we did was we set up the Wild Foundation in 2020. So a bit of backstory here. Before COVID, we were a live events company. We made all of our money. 97% of our revenue at the time was from me on stage doing live events and seminars. When COVID happened and we shut the borders, I actually flew back from the US in January 2020. I flew to New Zealand. I did a seminar over there. And then I came back in February back to Perth. And by March, we'd shut our international borders. So when that happened, when the government made that decision, we lost $1.5 million in a week. And we were about 6 weeks away from our business going bankrupt, not personally, but our business going bankrupt. And so we decided to do the best that we could with the 6 weeks that we had. And we said, we're going to rebuild our business. We're going to take everything online in a bigger way. And we're going to find a way to help people to get these skills and tools so they can transform their lives and the lives of the people. And so Ash and I sat down, my wife and I, we sat down and we said, let's set up a fund, a scholarship fund, where instead of clients paying $5,000 or $7,000 to do our programs, maybe we can get them to just cover a small amount, a gap fee, and we will personally fund part of that by injecting those funds back into the business to keep it going, and we can provide those scholarships and those funds for individuals around the world. We didn't realize how successful that was going to be, but in the last nearly 2 years, we've given away over $4 million in scholarship funds to over $4 million to over 1,000 coaches in the last 18 months through our foundation, which we're very, very proud of. And hopefully that means that for our little girl, Alila, that, we're paying forward a legacy that hopefully she gets to be part of that world that we're all involved with. Fundamentally, our company believes in this, that you have a fundamental choice. And I want you to write that down. And this, I think, is an important principle to share to your clients as well, that in life, you have a couple of fundamental choices, but the big one is, how do you want to live? One of my favorite quotes is that a ship that never leaves the harbor will never be smashed by the winds of change, but that is not what a ship is built for. And so I think what we're realizing now, certainly since COVID, is that we're all acutely aware of the distinction between living a wild life, which we believe is a life on our own terms, or living a life of captivity. Now, you use the example here of this tiger, right? And we go, a tiger is an endangered species. It's not safe for them in the wild. There's predators and preys, and we're hunting them. And so we'll take them out of their natural environment because we believe we know better. And we'll put them into a zoo or into some sort of rehabilitation center in the hope that we can keep the species alive. I want you to write this down, though. Surviving does not equal thriving. So the tiger might be alive in the zoo, or the tiger might be alive in the natural sanctuary, but the tiger is not thriving. It's not their natural habitat. It's not what a tiger was meant to be about. Now, I do get the reference point of why we would do that. And to an extent, I understand the reasons why some of the governments have made the decisions that they've made to isolate and to keep people safe in that way. I get that. However, and there's a big fucking but, at some point we've got to acknowledge that living a wild life, living a life that is a life of your choosing, where you get to be in control of your own destiny, means taking on board a certain level of risk. It means that. And that's okay. That's part of the gig. And so I want you to be aware of the fact that you have two choices, right? Like before COVID happened, you might say people were free, but really, how free were people? Mentally. How many people were holding themselves captive through limiting beliefs and behaviors and past traumas and all that stuff, right? They might be free to travel or to socialize or go to the pub, and they might not have to scan a passport or do any of that bullshit, but they were, in their perception, free. But really, were they free? Now we've just had these measures put in place where people can't do the things that they used to do, and they're in uproar. But could they have done the things that they wanted to do when they wanted to do them, or would they have talked themselves out of a great opportunity, right? Like, do we, hands up if you understand and appreciate what I'm trying to say here, in the sense that people have been holding themselves back long before a government did. We're just now pissed at governments for doing what we've been doing ourselves anyway, right? Please write this down, that doubt kills more dreams than failure ever could. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever could. Most people don't fail in their goals in life. They fail to start their goals in life because they just don't believe they're going to be able to make it happen, right? And so I think that's a huge loss. And so as a company, we do three things, right? We'd like to keep things pretty simple. We do three things. Number one is we have a program called the Art of Coaching. It's our foundations program for people that are wanting to become life coaches and NLP practitioners. It's 6 weeks long. It's normally a couple of $1,000s. And we take you through an amazing experience. You get a 2-day live event, 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with a senior coach, pardon me, and an opportunity to graduate with the skills and tools of transformation. It's really fucking incredible. You should all do it. Number two is, from there, a lot of our clients will then end up doing a master's program, which is a master's in coaching and a master's in NLP. It's 12 weeks long. It's just like AOC, but longer and better. And then part of that as well, which is really amazing in this program, is that we actually give you a group of clients to coach and support. One of the biggest barriers for coaching success is practical experience. So rather than, we can teach you how to go out there and get clients, and we do, but we also like to give you a group of clients to help you get started in that journey, in that process. And that's the Masters of Coaching program. That's about $10,000 to do that training with us. And then finally, if you're in a position where you're wanting to grow a successful coaching company and take your business and get it off the ground and replace your income, we have a program called Wild Launch. That's perfect for people that are starting up, that are wanting to go from $0 to $10,000 a month in coaching services and fees. And that program's $13,000, and it's 12 weeks of mentoring with me. Now, I do have as well private mentoring and done-for-you marketing and private advisory work and angel investing work that we do. That's $50,000 to $100,000, but I'm not going to talk about that in this program. It's not suitable for you, but certainly one of those three programs would be a great next step. Now, just so we're all very transparent program here. This is obviously a free program, right? We've got 1,300 people in a Facebook group. Our hope and prayer is that we do so much over the next 5 days in value, in energy and enthusiasm that you go, fuck, this was amazing. And I'd love to do more with these guys because I believe if I spend time and money with them, we're going to be able to change the world together. That's our hope and our goal, right? So our goal is not to give you just enough that you want more, but give you so much that you're blown away in value that you think, hey, this was incredible and it was for free. If I pay a bit of money, I'm going to get even more experience. That's exactly our goal. To that point, if you want to do stuff with us, awesome. If not, that's okay. There's 1,300 of you. We can't work with everybody. But if you are keen, we'd love to help and support you. And our belief is we offer a product in the world that's better than the competition and that's cheaper than the competition. So please give us the chance to win your business. We would love that. On the same token, if it's not for you, no one's going to harass you. That's not what we're about as well. Now, to that point, we have a giveaway where at the end of this program, we would love to give somebody a $7,500 training prize pack with Wild Success. So one of you in this program is going to win that. Hands up if you would love to win a $7,500 prize pack for us, all fully covered. Great, excellent. Hopefully don't have to twist anybody's arm for that. So it's very straightforward. We're going to give one of you in the program the Art of Coaching certification course free of charge. And that's a 6-week masterclass, as I mentioned, that takes you through how to coach and the foundations of successful coaches. The video training NLP library as well, where you've got those 42 different tools and strategies to create change. Your NLP prac and coaching certification as well. A 2-day live NLP breakthrough training that you'll get to do with us either this year or next year. And then finally, 3 one-on-one coaching sessions as part of that. Now that retails at about $7,500. If you're in the UK, that's about £4,100, just to give you a bit of a reference point. Singapore and New Zealand are pretty much the same as Australian dollars, right? So that's the whole prize pack. Now, how you win? Stay engaged with us this week, right? So show up on the calls. We're tracking engagement. We're tracking participation. People that ask questions, we appreciate that. Jump on over to Facebook and give us a follow on Wild Success and Calvin Coyles online as well. And we've got a podcast, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook and Instagram. Just connect with us as well. Leave us a review after this program if you loved it. We'd appreciate that. And if you want to leave a video review, we'd love that as well. And then share the journey on social media, that the things that we're teaching this week, we appreciate that as well. Obviously, everyone goes into the draw just by being here anyway, but the more that you do, the more chances you have to win. That's sort of how it goes. And on Friday, I'll be drawing the training live. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two. I'm going to give 2 prizes away. I'm going to give one on this call, and I'm also going to give one away as well on the UK time zone slot as well. So we're going to give 2 packs, one for you guys, one for the other group as well. We'll give one away to 2 different people, depending on the stream that you're involved in as well. So one of you will win on this call, one of you will win on the next call on Fridays as well. So with that in mind, that's the nuts and bolts of it all. Does anyone have any quick questions before I jump into this? As well, I'd love to be able to help you guys go through any questions that are coming through as well. There's a couple of different people here that have posted up some stuff, so I apologize if I forget anything, but if there's any questions, chuck them back up and I'll go through them quickly before we jump into the sessions today. Okay, what do we got here? Just having a look at some of these. Replays will be available for all the sessions. Yep. So the sessions are live. We will be uploading a replay of the call the day after in the morning as well. Great question. Someone's already certified by Chris. Excellent. That's excellent. Good work. We teach different stuff to what Chris taught me. Obviously, what we teach today is very, very different. But Chris has got some fantastic training, and we recommend that you do some stuff with him as well. Is our coaching program ICF accredited? For those of you who don't know, ICF is the International Coaching Federation. A lot of our team are ICF accredited coaches. I'm not. I just didn't go down that pathway. I want you to think about ICF. If you're in Australia, it's the equivalent of do you fly Qantas or Virgin? If you're in the UK, do you fly Virgin or British Airways? It's just a different airline. So ICF doesn't recognize NLP training. So obviously none of our NLP stuff is associated with the ICF. We are working with them at the moment to see if there's a bit of overlap between our 2 organizations. We don't currently recognize ICF courses. They don't recognize Wild courses. They're just 2 different beasts, but we are working to try and work that out. But at the moment, no is the simple answer to your question. Benita, we're recognized in 83 countries. Yep, you can get insurance and certification worldwide as well. It's actually 85 now, Benita. But yes, you can. Wherever we do our trainings, that's where your certifications are recognized. How many hours a day is a 6-week program? Jessica, it's 23 hours a day for 6 weeks of your life. You get 1 day off. No, I'm only joking. It's about 3 to 5 hours a week. 2 hours of a masterclass, 1 hour of Q&A. And Halam, yes, I will be uploading some slides on the back end of today's sessions as well. Alicia, would you recommend AOC first before other coaches programs you offer? Yes, if you want to do masters, you do AOC compulsory first. However, if you're going to do business, depending on where you're at, you might do launch. But for mostly everybody, AOC is absolutely the best place to start. Normally, you do primary school, then secondary school, then university. It goes in that order for a reason. Okay, so I'll leave the rest of the questions to the end because we've gone 45 minutes. I'm just fucking getting started. I apologize. So let's jump into this. After doing this for nearly a decade, I've learned a couple of things. Number one, most people in the world are deeply unsatisfied with their life, but they feel powerless to change it, right? This is a really common thread for a lot of people where they want to do more in their lives, but they just feel, they go, I don't know how I'm going to make that happen. And if I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, then it can't happen, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to share with you the antidote to that, which is game changing for you in your own life, personally and professionally. But most people have resigned themselves to this life because they don't know how to create something more. The next one, the vast majority of people that are never going to achieve success are actually smart and they're hardworking and they're really good people. It's not like they're dumb, stupid, negative people. They're smart, they're hardworking, they're good people. They just haven't figured out how to win. Les Brown said it so beautifully before. He said there are 3 types of people in the world. There are winners, there are losers, and there are those who haven't yet figured out how to win. If you're on this call, I would imagine you're a winner or someone that's figuring it out. Most people out there are the same as well. And finally, to succeed as a coach, you need 3 fundamental foundations that are often overlooked and even less frequently mastered. And that's what I want to go through with you today. Now, as I said, today's been obviously a bit of a startup call, but most of it is going to be covered in your scorecard. Now, this is where the scorecard comes into place. The 3 fundamentals that you need to succeed as a coach is number 1, self-belief. Number 2 is coaching skills. And number 3 is business readiness. I'm going to break them down in a bit for you now, but let me just check in with you on this. If you go to the link coachingsuccess.scoreapp.com, you'll be able to complete a questionnaire. The questionnaire is actually built around these 3 parameters. There's about 8 to 10 questions about self-belief, 8 to 10 questions about coaching skills, and 8 to 10 questions about business readiness. Depending on your answers, they will then it automatically creates the software. It automatically creates a customized PDF that goes for about, I think, 8 to 10 pages that will give you a series of breakdown steps of what you should do next based off your individual score. It'll also give you a score overall, and it'll give you a score for each of those 3 categories and let you know if you've got a low score, a medium, or a high score. A low score is if you score 0 to 40%. 40 to 80% is a medium score. And if you score over 81%, you consider to be a high score. From looking at your results before I got on this call today, for many of you, most of you have scored somewhere between low and medium. The majority of you are in that medium category. I don't think we've actually got anybody so far that's done the scorecard that's got a high score of over 81%. So you're all in a very similar capacity. Now let's break that down, by the way. What we are looking at within that is these sort of fundamental pillars. And so when I sort of sat down earlier this year and looked at what are the things that people have to have in place to succeed as a coach today, get rid of all the noise and the jargon, and of course, get rid of the hype and the buzzwords. The first thing that you need to have to be a successful coach is self-belief. It's fundamental. Fundamentally, if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to. If you've got to hold a sense of belief as well, though, from yourself, like your own belief has to be full to then be able to pour into somebody else a sense of belief in themselves. Will Smith said the first step before anyone else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. And when I thought back to my life, particularly before I had coaching skills and before I had business readiness, what was the difference that made the difference to me over somebody else was I just believed in myself more. You have to believe, again, from Will Smith, he says there's a delusional quality that successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different can happen than what has happened over the last 10, 20, 50, 100 million years. We talk about realism. And who's heard of this concept before of SMART goals, S-M-A-R-T goals? Hands up if you've heard of that goal before. SMART goals. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, right? And it's great, but it's also bullshit. The reason why is because if you look at major things that change the world, the solutions to climate change are not going to be SMART goals. Putting a man on the moon is not a SMART goal. The Berlin Wall coming down is not a SMART goal. These are not SMART goals. These are bold goals. They are innovative, game-changing goals. But they start, first and foremost, with a sense of belief. Someone has a belief that it's possible. You think about the Wright brothers when they invented flight. It's unrealistic to say you're going to bend a piece of metal and fly people over an ocean in that metal. That's unrealistic. But thankfully, it happens every day, or at least it did before COVID. You get what I'm trying to say? So we've got to start, first and foremost, with self-belief. And there's a couple of fundamental beliefs that I have that I want to share with you that I think if you've got these, you're going to make the world a better place. Number one is that there are people in the world that need your help and that you can help. There are people in the world that need your help and that you can help. In 2010, I had an experience change my life forever. I was invited by an Australian charity to travel to Kenya and work in the Gorogocho slums in the heart of Kenya, just outside of Nairobi, about 40 minutes outside of Nairobi, is a rubbish tip. It's about 1 kilometer square radius, and there's 100,000 people that live in this 1 kilometer square radius on a rubbish tip. And that was my first experience of really, truly extreme poverty. And I was invited to go and work over there with a group of women. I think I had 16 women that were all mothers in the community that all had between 4 and say 12 children that are all widowed. Either their partner had completely just left them or he had passed away from a variety of different issues that you experience in poverty. And we set up a microfinancing project called Mama Shuja, which in Swahili means warrior woman. And at that point, I'm 20 years old. I haven't graduated business school. I've never had any business success at this point, but I was learning a bit about business and I'd worked in a bit of family business. And I rock up there on day one trying to teach these women how to grow their own businesses. And none of them speak English. We have to have a Swahili translator. None of them have handled money because in that culture, the man was responsible for the finances. And so when he leaves a vacuum economically, not because he's not working anymore. That's part of it. But also the other part of it is that there's no one there to show her how to handle money. So it's like, fuck, how are we going to teach? I've got 2 weeks. How am I going to teach these women how to handle money and deal with business when they're none of them even know how to spend money yet? And so I was like, what's the universal? It's Monopoly. So we went and bought Monopoly and we just played Monopoly for the first 3 days. So I figured if you could teach somebody how to do that game, it'll teach every other skill that you need. But I left that experience in Africa with a fundamental understanding that, hey, there are people in the world that need my help and that I can help. It didn't matter. No one asked me, hey, what's your certification? Have you graduated from one of the top 100 universities in the world? No one asked me for that. They didn't give a fuck about my certification. What they cared about was, can he help me improve my life? And fundamentally, like we talk a lot about coaching certifications, and of course we certify you. The coaching certification means nothing. It means nothing. It's a piece of paper that helps you might feel a little bit more confident. And if that's what you need, awesome. But it means nothing. I can tell you now, 200,000 clients, I'm yet to have a client in the world ever ask me to show them my certificates. Not one. By the way, no insurance companies have asked me either. But the reality is no one cares. People care if you can help them. They don't care necessarily if you've got a piece of paper. Now, of course, we think that that's a proxy for it, but it's not really, because no amount of certifications is ever going to fill the void if you don't have self-belief. But if you have self-belief, no amount of certifications are even needed. Obviously, since then, I've gone and studied business at Harvard University and other places, but I share that with you so you understand that it comes from a sense of belief, that you've got to first believe that there are people in the world that need your help, which there are, and that you can help, which hopefully you can. On top of that as well, I believe spiritually that I was put on the planet to do this work. I do this work because it is a spiritual quest as much as anything else. And I'm not just preaching to the converted here. I know that most of you are in that place as well. So I believe that you should do what you feel you were put on the planet to do. If that is coaching and NLP or healing, whatever language you want to use around it, do that. If, however, and I think for most of you that are on this call, if not all 145 of you, you're not doing coaching and NLP or healing. And again, I'm going to utilize that language very generally. You're not doing that necessarily because you want to make a heap of money and that you don't really care about coaching and helping people. You're doing it because you genuinely want to coach and help people. And if you can make money, that would be a bonus. Hands up if that's the case for you guys. Yeah, great. Awesome. Well, we're in the same place. So the point that I'm making with that is, if you believe you're here to do this work, then do this work. If you don't believe you're here to do this work and you just think this is going to be a quick cash grab, then please don't do this work, because you're not going to succeed even if you try. So it starts with a sense of self-belief. And I want you to write this down. For most of our clients, it's about turning their pain into their purpose. For most of our clients, it's about turning their pain into their purpose. How do you recycle your experiences of life in such a way to be meaningful and add value to somebody else's life? That builds a sense of self-belief, self-esteem, self-confidence, because you've lived it. It is lived experience. So that starts with level 1, coaching as self-belief. Then once you've got that, you need coaching skills. You need strategies and tactics and tools and tricks and all of those different things to help somebody change their life. Now, my belief system is that it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Let me repeat that for everybody. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. Effectively, it is better to have the skills and tools of transformation and not need them than to need them and not have them. So in my life, I've always sought out whatever's been the most cutting edge skills and tools in NLP coaching and human transformation. To be fair and honest with you, a lot of the stuff that we teach today wouldn't really fall into the category of NLP or coaching, but we use that language just because it's effective to bridge the gap for a lot of people. But you'll get a very hybrid and alternative type of training from us because we're very pragmatic and we care about what works. To that point as well, when you do our NLP course, for example, a traditional NLP program takes about 7 days to learn the 42 practitioner tools. We cover hours in 2 days. Why? Because the stuff that was taught in the 60s is rubbish by comparison to what we can teach today. We only care about teaching the stuff that matters. The video training teaches you everything that you need so you can tick the box and say, I've done everything I need, but there's no point teaching you which is not that effective, right? So with the coaching skills, the difference between coaching and NLP is I would use this frame. There's an art of coaching and there's a science of NLP. So NLP is a series of obviously tools and techniques that you can use, often scripts and templates that are designed to be, I guess, almost mathematical, if you will, or very engineered. They're designed to be very structured and regimented, that you say this at this time to create this change. And it's been very much built in the same way that you would code a computer effectively. It's not that clinical, but you get that idea. Whereas coaching is what's not said. It's the unspoken. It's holding space for somebody. It's being able to answer questions that are hidden in the subtext of where people are at. It's reading body language. That's much deeper. That's much more intuitive, for example. But you want to have both skills. And for me, in the beginning, I didn't have coaching or NLP skills. All I had was raw passion and energy. So when I did sessions in the early days, before I learned this stuff, it was just, I believe in you so much. I'm going to give you so much positivity. It's like my only strategy was to try and bring somebody back to the life of their goals using the defibrillator, right? It's not a great strategy unless somebody's going into cardiac arrest. So now I don't have to be as aggressive in my approach because I know what are the things that really matter. You know, consider this. Anyone ever had the experience of breaking down their car before? As a guy, there is a lot of social pressure for us to know how to use an engine, operate an engine, and fix a car. And so, you do the thing that everybody does. You open up the bonnet and then you realize, fuck, I'm not a mechanic. I've got no idea what I'm looking at right now, right? So, for me, when I was looking in the beginning, my only approach was to take a sledgehammer and just smack stuff until it worked, right? Not a great strategy. It can work, but not great. When you have a mechanic, the mechanic's not a magician, right? They're not a magician. They're just trained at understanding how to diagnose the problem with your engine and fix it. They studied in school to learn how to do that, right? And that's why they charge you a fortune, because they know that you've got no fucking idea what they're doing and they can make up words and everything's good, right? That's why people here go to mechanics. The point is, though, if your car's broken, you need one because they're trained. That's the difference. NLP is the same thing. It's teaching you how to service your engine, so to speak. Once you've got those two things, you're a very formidable coach. If you've got self-belief and skills, fuck, that's dynamite, right? So that can really help you get started. However, I can promise you, most of you are more capable, more qualified, and more ready than a lot of other people out there that are making more money than you are, just simply because you don't have the business skills required to succeed. And I once remember learning this from a doctor. And most people, when they're first starting out in life, look at people that are doctors or lawyers or engineers, particularly doctors and lawyers. They make a heap of money because they charge by the hour, and it's a lot of cash, right? And in Australia, we're very fortunate. We've got a bulk billed medical system, so the government pays for a lot of it. But you only need to go to the United States to realize how expensive medical care can be. And the doctor once explained to me that they charge a lot of money, but that's only half of their job. Like being a general practitioner or being a surgeon is only half of their job. Half of their job is being that profession. The other half of the job is getting people that want that profession and being that person, right? And so as a coach, you need two skills, coaching skills. How do you change somebody's life? But you also need business readiness. You need the ability to actually start, scale, and sustain a successful business. Now, for me, I believe there are 5 elements of any successful business, and there are 3 elements that matter up front, $0 to $100,000 a year. Write these 3 things down. We're going to go through them in Friday in a lot of depth. Number 1, marketing. There's a lot of people in the world. A lot of people need help. A lot of people out there calling themselves coaches. So how do you stand out online? That's branding, that's lead generation, Facebook and Instagram marketing, for example, Google AdWords. It's in your brand, whether it means your colors and your logos and your website or your podcast, YouTube channel, etc. Right? So organic paid marketing, that's the first piece. Effectively, can you generate interest from people online and around the world to come and work with you as a coach? That's step number 1. Once you've done that, you now have a sales problem. That's number 2, sales. Can you have conversations in an online environment like what I'm doing with you all now in a leveraged way, or one-on-one on the phone to help somebody connect and to help explain, hey, Sharon, this is where you're at right now. This is where you want to be. This is how we can help you get there. Would you like to get started with us? Can you have that conversation, right? Now, you need to have some sort of a structure. I don't believe in scripts per se, right? I think it's a bit robotic, but you need some sort of a structure to have a sales conversation. And a lot of people have got a negative mindset when it comes to sales. And so they sort of freak out and go into a bit of a fit when they try to make a sales presentation, not because they hate sales, but because they're allergic to rejection. So that's number 2. And then number 3, let's say you're really good at marketing, you're really good at sales. Great. Well, now you've got a problem because you've got to try and deliver to a whole heap of people. So is your business model built for one-on-one or one-to-many? Is your systems and processes and technology designed in such a way where you've got your business running itself rather than you running it? That's also quite important. And can effectively you run a business? Do you have a business model as well? By the way, all of these things I'm going to take you through on Friday's masterclass. But they're the 3 things you need upfront. They're not everything, but 0 to 100,000, you need those 3 things: marketing, sales, and operations. And operations effectively means business plan and technology systems. So if you can get the holy trinity of those 3 things together, you believe in yourself and you've got really strong self-esteem, self-belief, you're resilient, you've got the good characteristics that you need to succeed. And that's universal, not just in coaching, it's in everything. Number 2, you've got professional skills, you've got coaching skills. You have at least learned and understood the skills and tools of transformation. In our case, that's coaching NLP. Some of you might say Reiki, EFT, whatever it might be. And then also you've got business readiness. When those 3 worlds collide, you've got a tremendous opportunity to turn the rest of your life into the best of your life and change lives. But you need those 3 things. Now, we've gone to time today, but if you use the scorecard and you jump in and complete that, it'll give you a report that goes for about 8 pages that details where you're at and 5 action steps, depending on your score, 5 individualized action steps for you to go to that next level. So just so everyone's across that, that's part and parcel of that. Now, we have a gift for everybody as well that's doing this program, just so you know that this 5 days is going to go very quickly. There's a lot that I'm going to share with you in a general sense, but there's going to be a lot of you that are going to go, yes, I appreciate that. And how do I apply this to my life specifically? To that point, you may have seen us reference what's called a coaching roadmap session. Now, these sessions are normally $300. They're absolutely free of charge for all of you doing the program. And there's no obligation or expectation for you to do any more work with us. So you want to be transparent with that as well. Of course, if you want to, we can talk about specials and deals, but that's not the intention of the call. The goal is to help you take all the material that we're sharing with you over the 5 days and make it really relevant for you, and go through your scorecard effectively and show you what the next step would look like in that process. Now, to that point, this is the link. I'm just going to share this with you for this. I'm going to post this link up for you in the chat box. Give me 1 second. Now, I want you to be aware, we've got 3 senior coaches that we've said, hey, can you clear up some space in your calendar this week for one of these roadmap sessions, just so you're all aware. And for right now, there's 142 people on the call. We obviously don't have 142 sessions available. And we've got 1,300 people in the program. And in about 5 hours, I'm doing another presentation for another 200 odd people. So just so we're all aware, there's a couple of things that I want you to be across before you book in a session, if you choose to book in a session as well. So that's the link to do so. But a couple of things I just want to check in with you about that beforehand. Number 1, If you're looking to take your coaching business seriously over, say, the next 90 days to 6 months, that's awesome. But if you're not interested in starting a successful business or taking your coaching skills to the next level right now, don't worry about creating a roadmap, because you're not going to get started in your journey, right? There's no point mapping out a road trip across the country if you're not ready to actually take that road trip, right? And by the way, that doesn't mean that you have to take the road trip with us. It just means that if you're wanting to take that road trip, we're going to give you those skills. But if you're not ready, then that's probably not important. Number two as well is, when we're sharing with you strategies to succeed, we've got a principle that we picked up from Les Brown where he says, and this is worth writing down, when you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. I love that quote. When you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. Okay. And so with that in mind, our senior coaches that are going to be taking you through these roadmap sessions are probably going to be sharing with you ideas that will really help you go from A to B, right? So these are things you can do to improve your self-belief, or these are things you can do to learn more coaching skills, or this might be the next step for you in your coaching business. We're not here to argue with you about whether or not it's possible or not. We know it's possible. We've done it enough times. I just want you to come into the call with a sense of optimism that it can be done, that it is possible, that you are capable and worthy. We don't have time or energy to try and justify that to you. If you have that mindset, you'll do well. If you don't, you don't. Hands up, that makes sense and you understand that it's just a fundamental principle. I know that most of you are like, yeah, that's no shit, Calvin. But trust me, when you speak to as many people as we do about this stuff, you just deal with a lot of lack mentality at the best of times. And it's draining for us as much as it is for you guys. So if you're interested, I encourage you to book in one of those sessions. The benefit of you being on this call now is that you get first dibs. But once they're booked, they're booked. I think we probably got about 70 sessions available total across the 5 days. However, obviously there's this group and the previous group, and we've already had some people book in ahead of time as well. So let me just go back to the slides real quick, because a couple of final things I just want to share with you before I wrap up for today's session as well. So if, sorry, 1 second. There we go. Okay. So before tomorrow, I want you to complete that scorecard, and that'll give you this personalized report. It'll break it down for you. And this is all completely unique and individualized to you. So no two scorecards are the same. It'll also give you an overall result for professional coaching skills, business readiness, and personal success. And it'll send out your results as well to you instantaneously. So today, we wanted to cover the 3 pillars, and hence the scorecard's going to give you a lot of that data. Tomorrow, I'm going to be taking you through the WILD method, which is a game changer. Then on Wednesday, we've got emotional mastery. Thursday is 42 ways to change somebody's life. Friday is the business coaching roadmap session as well, how to go from $0 to $10,000 a month in 90 days, which is going to be pretty game changing. This is the methodology I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow, which is our signature method of compelling vision, internal alignment, proven strategy. And it's effectively the container by which we do human transformation at WILD. So if you can understand that and then repurpose it for your market and your audience, it's something that I think will be really game changing for you in a big, big way. And finally, those roadmap sessions, we're going to work through your one-on-one results, identify any subconscious shifts you need to make to take your practice to the next level, give you the next strategic priority personally and professionally, and help you integrate the lessons and learnings this week. So the link is posted up into the chat box if you want to book in one of those sessions. It's obviously a pet peeve of us that if someone books in a session and doesn't show up, I think that's pretty poor form. So obviously we've got a limited capacity. We respect your time. We're going to show up on time and be ready for you. We expect you guys to do the same as well. If you can't, just give us 24 hours notice, at least we can reschedule it. But we appreciate you guys, and hopefully you booked in. I know quite a few of you have already booked in a session as well, hence why we've got limited capacity. Matilda, I got the scorecard, but not the breakdown. I'm missing anything. Yeah, so the results will get emailed out to you, Matilda. So just check your emails as well. Some of them have been going to spam depending on the filters. But if you've done the scorecard and you're missing any of the information, just email support@wildsuccess.global, and we can always send out you anything else that you're missing out on as well. Okay, sensational. Who got some value from the first session today, ladies and gentlemen, by show of hands? If you enjoyed today, by the way, today was the boring, elementary, getting shit started day. The next 4 days are going to be hands-on, practical, and fucking game-changing, and Wednesday is going to blow your life. So it's going to be freaking amazing. What I want to do, just real quick, is 2 things. Number one, I want to say thank you and I appreciate you. It is a privilege and an honor to spend time with you guys kicking some goals. The only thing that I want to do more, not more, let me use my words properly. The only thing that is a worthy replacement of me not spending time right now upstairs with my little girl having bath time is spending time with you guys sharing this stuff. These are my two loves, my family and spending time with you guys sharing and teaching content. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you showing up as well. Please continue to show up for the next 5 days. We want to have a heap of fun with you as well and kick some goals. I'm going to give everyone just a couple of quick minutes now. If you have any questions, anything you want to go through, any highlights of the program, please post them below. And if you have any questions, you want to workshop something real quick, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes now. Just raise your hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually drop everybody's hands now. Just apologies if you had a question. I'm just going to lower everybody's hand just because I asked you to put your hands up earlier and I don't want to unmute somebody that doesn't actually ask a question. So if you have a question, and you want to go through anything, check your hand up. Michelle's already done that. Excellent. I'm going to unmute you. We'll have a bit of a dialogue. And before you jump off tonight, just post up and let me know what your best thing is of the training program. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat place, same black channel, so to speak. And we're going to kick some goals. Michelle, I'll unmute you. Any questions, my dear? How can I help?
Nima wharai kakotana na wewe. Is that right?
I've got no fucking idea what you just said.
I said, nice to meet you in Swahili.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I had a bit of time with a tribe when I've been able to spend some time with the Hadza. So I really identified with everything you were talking about with Africa and just how much people need help. I just wanted to say thank you. I know you thought this was a boring course for the first day, and I know it's lots of sort of, introductory stuff, but seriously, it's really good because the things you were saying really hit home. That self-belief, trying to have to get a certificate and do that to then feel like you can justify who you are. Yeah. You've seen it firsthand in Africa too. People need your help and they just need to show up.
I want you say as well, Michelle, I'm not sure your experience on this, but I actually found it much easier to help people. And I don't want to use Africa as a generalization, but let's just say third world and people that are in extreme poverty. I found it much easier to help people in that place. You know why? There was a lot more humility and a lot more of just, hey, we just want help. So any help, like they're just hungry for help. I found it difficult sometimes helping people that have actually got a lot more because you're fighting more of their current reality rather than just the willingness and acceptance just to want more in their lives.
Absolutely. And just being with people that are just so incredibly grateful for everything. Yes. It's just like, wow, we need to learn there.
Yes.
My question for you, please, Calvin, is just to say, with the thing that really hit home to me, and I was really amazed at the way the flow to lead us into this workshop today, this with the personal call and everything like that. As a business person, I was just going, man, that's sharp, because I've just launched a course just recently, and I just started opening the doors today, and I'm on day one. And I just was noticing all those sorts of things. So the best course for people that really need to find shoes in business is that. Well, that's the last one that you were talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Wild Launch. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't need to have done our coaching trainings to do launch, but our sort of prerequisite for our business program is if you are going to succeed in business, my general rule is, and I'll touch a little bit on this on Friday, is a 7 out of 10 rule, right? Which is, if I was to give you 10 clients, Michelle, to help and support, are you confident you could help at least 7 of them? If you're confident you can help at least 7 people, you're probably ready to start a business. If you don't think you could help 7, then don't start a business. Go and get the skills and coaching experience first, which would be, say, in our case, AOC and Masters of Coaching. Again, you don't have to do it with us, do it with anybody you want, but you get the experience, then start a business. I think there's value in that as well. So that would be our launch program, yes.
Right. Oh, no, that's awesome. I see the value, there's definitely value in that. I've luckily had coaching experience over the last 2 years. And just when you can compare yourself to the year before, you go, okay, I'm growing. But it's exactly that. It's getting out of your comfort zone, isn't it? Getting out of that cage and just going, right, I've got to go for it. I've got to get wild.
That's it. I love it. You're preaching the converted. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for any other questions?
No, that is grand. It was just nice to know our next steps. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. Calvin. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. Does anybody else have any questions? If you do, go into the reactions tab in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Click on that and it'll say raise hand and you'll come to the top of my screen and I can answer any questions that you've got if you have any questions. Cool. I think no more questions. No one's putting their hands up. Okay. Well, I've been talking for long enough, so I'm going to leave you and let you go. Okay, so tomorrow, same time, 6 o'clock Perth time. Just so everyone knows, I have communicated already about communicating. The sessions are the same. So session 1, session 2, in terms of the times are the same. You don't have to stay up with me for another 5.5 hours until 1 a.m. my time. So for everybody, you're all good. But I'll see you tomorrow for the program. Same Zoom ID. It's all the same. Yep, all the same stuff. And by the way, if you've got friends, family, loved ones, colleagues, anyone at all that you want to join into the program, we're going to shut the group down tonight. So if there's anybody you go, fuck, you need to be part of this. This guy's amazing and so charismatic and handsome. You need to be part of this call. Then add them into the Facebook group. Some of you got that joke, Charlie. Charlie, that's not nice. I saw that facial expression. That's not nice. You go along with that, Charlie, okay? So add them into the group, get them to do the scorecard, and we'll kick some goals. Lots of love to you all. Until I see you tomorrow, be bold, have fun, go make an impact in the world. We'll see you on the wild side. Good evening and good night. See you guys.